Hello, everyone. I'm Terry Wood, and this is the Utah League of Cities and Towns Legislative Headlines. With me again today is the Director of Legislative Affairs for the League, Lincoln Church. Lincoln, we're entering week 4 now. Activity really picks up with the legislature.
It does pick up. We've got the last 7 days of the session coming, and it's an eternity up here, but a lot of business to be done in 7 days. So plenty going on. They're going to be going till about 10 o'clock tonight, and then likely 10, 11, 12 o'clock for the rest of the session.
They save the big ones for last, it appears, grandma being one of the big ones, the public's access to records. What's
Absolutely.
happening?
House Bill 337 just passed out of committee today unanimously, first committee hearing, so it's the first hurdle of the process, and it's got to go all the way through that process. Did get a fiscal note. It's got a $2 million fiscal note associated with it, which means it'll cost the state about $2 million to implement this bill. What the bill does is creates a state-sponsored website where public records can be uploaded to that website so citizens have easy access to the records that they're looking for without having to go into city offices or county offices to get those records.
But there would still be some restrictions, correct?
Correct. There would be restrictions on protected records, so we protect private or protected information that the public doesn't want out, such as Social Security information, dates of births, other things that people hold close to their vest, if you will.
A big one cities care about, the billboard issue, the billboard bill that limits the city's ability to limit billboards, and it's passed the House by a big margin.
Absolutely. There are two bills. There's one coming out of the Senate and one coming out of the House. The one coming out of the House did pass the House by an overwhelming margin. The League of Cities and Towns didn't focus much of its effort on the House, recognizing that, if you will, the fight was in the Senate. We've been working closely with most of the senators on this issue. Think we have some fairly compelling arguments that they're buying into. That's where the fight's going to be. So we're focusing energies there, and we'll see how it turns out. Big issue, obviously, is conversion of billboards from paper-faced to digital-faced billboards. So with that in mind, one of those issues we really have got to get a handle on. I think we've got what we need to get the votes to go our direction.
An interesting bill involving eminent domain and trails, especially along the Wasatch Front, hiking trails.
Correct. So we do have a trails bill this year, and essentially what it does is allow cities and towns to condemn property to complete substantive trail networks within their jurisdictions. Key ones would be Jordan River Parkway trail systems, the Bonneville Shoreline trails, where you have one or two holdout property owners that don't want to allow for the completion of the trail. It would give us the ability to condemn those properties. I must add, that is with just compensation, so we'd obviously have to compensate those folks, but clearly the public interest in completing those trail networks is something that we have interest in.
How likely is it that bill passes?
It is on the House calendar for consideration. It will likely be considered sometime this week. There was a fair amount of testimony in committee expressing some concerns. Obviously, anytime you talk about condemning people's property, it's a sensitive issue. We're cognizant of that. We've suggested some amendments to protect the public interest in private property rights. And so with that, we're hopeful that the House will consider that bill with favorable consideration.
Most important piece of work that the legislators have to pass is the budget. How are they doing?
Doing good. There hasn't been much controversy yet. Usually with the budget, there seems to be a fair amount of controversy among the Senate and the House as to the direction they want to go, and also the governor weighs in pretty heavily on his budget and what the House and Senate want to do there. Haven't seen much of that yet. The first numbers and, if you will, budget recommendations from the legislature are just now becoming public. Looks like they're largely staying in line with many of the recommendations that the governor made, but at the same token, there are other issues that they're trying to make sure that the legislative interest gets prioritized as well.
Now, another bill that's of interest to cities would allow or would give communities an easier way to incorporate as cities, correct?
Correct. Representative Mel Brown had a bill that came through committee today, actually. It passed out of committee on a 6-3 vote. This bill failed earlier in committee. He restructured the bill, brought it back today, really to address many of the concerns of the counties. What it really does is allow for individuals who have an interest in forming their own city or town an easier process of getting to the ballot for formal incorporation. So essentially we'll still have to go before the public before any incorporation can take place, but just streamline the process in getting to the ballot.
Okay, as you said, we're entering the final week now, but citizens can still get involved.
Absolutely. Please get involved. You can contact your legislator. Easiest place is le.utah.gov. Or for city-specific information, go to our website, which is ulct.org.
Lincoln, thank you very much.
Thanks, appreciate it.
And that's your Utah legislative headlines from the Utah League of Cities and Towns.